Bitches in the future?
Joe!
Bitcoin is the future.
Yeah, that's it.
One BTC and 32 ETH.
Welcome back, Hard Forkers, episode 3 of 1 Bitcoin and 32 Ethereum. Stefano, the most famous kitchen in all of crypto, welcome back. Johnny Gonzo's got a nice plant this week. And Lisa, guest appearance. You all know her from our Monday technical analysis show. Yes, this
Everybody knows me.
Everyone knows.
I'm unknown.
You told the world that you are in fact Satoshi on Monday. So.
Oh my God, they had a meltdown. It was funny.
So Lisa's with us today. We're going to be looking at Primexbt and having a quick look at the charts that's coming up. But first, meme of the week. Oh my God!
Oh my God! She's fucked.
I think she's dead.
Jordan. Pretty good. I did like your CZ sushi meme last week.
Very
More
topical.
drama for the sushi people, obviously. Been a pretty ugly time for them, but enough about sushi. Let's get right into it, people. If you've been following the show, it's primarily fundamental analysis, but as part of the material, we are also using the Primexbt platform. So during the week, we're actually going to have Lisa back and we're going to go through the functionality of the platform. I'm currently copy trading her. Obviously, when we began the show, the entire market had that howler. A lot of the stuff we're following sort of plummeted 60%, and
Yeah.
I think that was your tough week. So I've still got...
That was the week I sucked severely at trading.
You've done very well last week, Lisa. You've done very well.
Yeah, no, I have. But
I can't tell whether that first trade is still a position that's moving or not. So I'm a bit
No, that first trade closed, obviously,
okay.
because it came down, hit my stop, and then went back up, as it does. And it's like...
Let you have one bad week.
Yeah, so I had a shocker that week. And then, so this... Ever since it's been okay. And I've been taking smaller positions, and that week I was like in quite a large position. So
Well,
I think the whole of everyone on Prime was in this massive position, and you see everyone's trades went, I think there was 4 or 5 traders that got liquidated in that drop. So, I'm never going to get liquidated because I always have a stop. But that's a big risk that a lot of people have to sort of take when they're following these and copy trading. You're copying that person's trade, so you need to know how they trade. They do have a Telegram channel, so you can ask traders in there, how they trade and what they're doing, and if they have stop losses and if they're in big or small positions. So
Okay, perfect. Yeah, well, it'd be great to we'll do an extended show with you just on the Prime platform and how shorts and longs work as well. I think some of us here are still sort of wrapping our heads around the different elements of trading. But on that note, Lisa, the market's looking unpredictable again. Can we have a quick look? Obviously, we're more of a fundamental show, but let's have a look at the technicals of what BTC and Ethereum might do this week.
Yeah, so I'll share some screens. So this is my BTC chart. So we're trading within this channel, which is what I said on the weekly show that we do on Mondays.
You nailed that call. Yep.
Yeah. So we've hit the top of this channel. We've retraced. I think we're going to break through. So, and this is what I said on the show. So I sort of said, hang on, let me draw this. get this. So I think we're coming up here. We've come down here. We could touch this MA, which is more than likely. We do need to test MAs from time to time. And I think we come up and we retest this previous support. So that'll be retested as resistance. And then we'll probably, we'll sit there within this small sort of region between the red and the blue line, maybe for a day or so. We'll keep knocking on the previous support, let me in sort of thing, and then plummet down. So, and I think that drop will be quite a quick drop once we do sort of reject. So that is, hang on, I've just got the screen over there. So we're dropping, we should hit around sort of 11.5 at this point and drop down to about 9.8. So that's, it's quite a big drop. And I think that'll be quite quick. I don't think we're going to go and hit those, that gap though. I keep, saying that we're not getting to that gap, and that's going to really kill some of these bears. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. And then quickly Ethereum. So we are following this perfectly. We've come up, we've tested the MAs that I said we would test. We're in this fifth wave. So the way that this wave will look, it'll come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll retest this previous support here. We should hit around the 446 mark and then come down. So if we hold at this support here, which is the 340 mark, which is around what we were hitting last time, or if we break that, we're coming down to about 280. So if I, shorting this, I would close a short here because you're not guaranteed the second one, but I would have some orders waiting. So that's how I would trade that.
Okay, very good. On that note, team, Lisa, you're more than welcome to hang around and hear what potential trades we have, or the trades we have made and what we're about to do. So, Jordan.
Hi.
Mr. Our shitcoin connoisseur, have you made some trades, and what's on the agenda for you in the coming week?
Have I made any trades? Nope, I have not this week.
Okay. Well, let's actually bring up our leaderboard and we can go through that. So, talk us through what you've done, which sounds like not a lot.
So on Prime, I opened a couple Eth trades. Right about where we're at right now. Let's see what the price is right now with Bitcoin. 330. Oh no, I'm down about 3% right now. I opened a couple longs and different laddered in, so had a bit of a loss right now, which is to be expected. But I'm banking on what Lisa was saying there. Hopefully going up to 440. That would be nice. So that's about it right now. Waiting for my Chainlink to move.
How about your Ethereum account? Have you gone all in on Chainlink again?
No, I'm still my position. I've got 20 that I bought 2 weeks ago. Still kind of in that $10, $12 range right now. Yep. So just waiting for a really bigger move on that one.
Okay.
Well, 2 weeks ago I bought more PAMP for my stack, and that's been doing pretty well. And that's been staking, making another, I think 3% on that, the staking rewards, which is pretty good.
Okay.
And there's a couple little crazy, tiny low cap gems that I'm thinking about going into. That if I mention them, you guys
do tell.
There's one called Nuts, which is Squirrel Finance. It's early days, and it's one of those ones that
I told you, Lisa, all about degenerate trading on the show.
I'm just wondering when he's going to combine his nuts with his green dildos and with his his PAMP and with his spank chain.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I'm looking for is Ampleforth Like. I'm already in this personally. It's called Based. I don't know if you guys have heard of this one.
Oh yeah, I've had a few tweets at me on Based over the last probably week. Everyone telling me to buy it, and I'm just like, you are not getting me on there. I'm not getting on Uniswap. It has no stop loss.
Oh, we're all about the Uniswap on this show.
Yeah. It's like it's not for me. I like money. I don't like losing it.
Okay. Well.
Well, you like Based because it's like $1 is one coin. And initially when we were farming it, it got up to like $750 per coin. And it goes by your market cap. So every 24 hours it rebases, and then it splits whatever the rebase is over 10 days. So like with Ampleforth, you get that rebase and everything plummets. This, it's kind of a slow, like day by day. Yeah. So you're getting more coins, the price is going up, people are FOMOing into it, driving the price up and the cap up, and then the next day you get more coins. So you look at the chart and you're like, oh my God, you're losing like crazy. But it's like, actually, I swing from like 4x to 5x my initial capital that I put in. So it's a real mind fuck. It took me so long.
He's laughing at you.
Oh yeah, of course. Stefano laughs at everybody.
You unmute yourself, please, Stefano, because you are up now.
Am I?
Talk us through what you've done and what you are thinking about doing, sir.
Sure. So I spent $15 pretty much in gas price to jump into the new liquidity pool of Bonk and Pamp. So I took like the tokens over there, put that in the liquidity pool. Not gonna lie, I got a bit of a disappointment over there because according to like the initial stats and so on, the reason why I did that is because there was that 50% initial yield bonus on Pump. So in theory, with the capital that I put in, I should have like farmed around like 16 or 17 Pump per day. While in reality, I'm like getting 2. So
APY magic.
It's like winning.
Yeah, it's kind of like I spend those 15 being like, okay, so I'm gonna get them back in like, a couple of weeks, and then like letting run for another 2, and then I'm out and it's easy. Instead, now I'm basically stuck in this position for like, I don't know, 2 months or something like that. So yeah, that was not too nice.
That's a good APY lesson, right? Because at the same time, they started the Pamp link pool. And I went into both at the same time, and the Bonk Pamp one became so popular, everybody did it, but then the rewards just got split so many ways that it's not enough, right?
That's true. And so it goes like on that rules that we mentioned like in the past, that is like yield farming is becoming like that game where, either you're big and you enter and you stay in a position for like 48, 72 hours and then you exit, or it's not worth it. Like, I'm sorry, but I mean, really like on DeFi is really like a big boys or a big whales game at this point.
Yeah.
Regarding the rest, I didn't do anything else because I lost $15. And what I'm looking at, so I'm looking at 2 things. One, I'm looking at Ampleforth, not the base things, but I'm looking at Ampleforth simply because like it went down from that 180 market cap, and now it's around 136, I think, or something like that. I want to let it run for probably like another 20 millions burn in the rebase daily, because obviously like once it's below $1 is like being eating up every single time, and I think that like soon is going to be ready to have like another leg. So I'm just like waiting for that, looking if there is like a good entry time. Not there yet. I'm waiting for like another minus 20% and then probably enter there
On Ampleforth?
Yes.
Let me share a screen. And
Damn, Lisa's calling me up for
All right. So see my pink line here?
Yeah.
So anything under this pink line, you're golden. You're golden. It's like you're going to get in here and it's going to pump.
I bought under the pink line, Lisa.
Did you?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, just like to show that thing. How much have you lose since you entered there, because you're still below $1?
Oh, let's find out, Stefano.
Well, I always ladder, but like into this region. So yeah, so I've kind of been. It's not one of my favorite coins to trade, and I actually exited at this point just before I got so annoyed with it. I thought it's not going to pump, and then next day I looked at it and I went, "That's just shit." So then when it came back down into this region, I laddered back in, and I've been buying and selling, so it hasn't been too bad.
It's fair.
It's an
It's fair.
interesting project, putting it mildly, isn't it?
Yeah, so
question.
I've spoken to Sean a little bit about it. It's not something you can chart with Elliott waves.
No,
that's
It
what I was
is
gonna ask.
something that I've done a little bit of research, and when it sort of, recalibrates in that region, is a good time to sort of ladder in. And, that pump was like 400%, that
Yep.
big one. Yeah, so if you can get one of those.
Yeah, golden.
And on KuCoin, you can have a stop. So you can keep moving your stop as it comes.
I'm all for
Losses,
Uniswap.
what are
like,
those?
I'm all for Uniswap. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
going
like
on
losses?
centralized exchanges.
What are losses?
Our voice of reason, people, on the Degenerate Trading Show. So let's have a quick look at what I did. Okay, so obviously our week one was what a wonderful time to start the show. I think everything took a huge slap, including my Prime account. Lisa's clawing that back very well over the last week.
I am. It's
See?
doing well.
Where I've had my big win was actually on Ampleforth. I made that trade on this show this time last week. Bought in at 65 and sold at 115. So
Have you got 69 on the brain, Sean? You're in a hotel. Have you got something to tell us?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all to do with the bonk and the pamp.
Well, I
He's
made so
pamping.
much money on Ampleforth.
Yeah, he's pamping it.
I'm pamping it,
he just
bonking.
brought the dirty to our show. I thought it was Dee Dee bringing the dirty, but
No,
it's Lisa.
everyone thinks
It's
Lisa.
both of us. Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I think it was actually me.
Before we were
Dirty.
very saddle, right?
Yeah, I think Dee Dee just goes along with it.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Those weird little
So
props.
anyway, people, let me just round out what I've done. So I'm actually back in another Ampleforth trade. Brought in at a similar figure. Obviously, when it's below $1, you are losing tokens. I'm starting to get a little twitchy, but very pleased to hear that, Stefano, you're also looking at it. So fingers crossed, that's my trade that I'm currently in, Ampleforth again. And as we've mentioned, people, if you do really want to follow our Degenerate Trading, our wallet addresses are in the show notes. You can check them out anytime, see exactly what we've done.
I think that, like, if I may add one thing, because like we mentioned both like elastic basically tokens, Amplifor from once, and Jordan was mentioning Base. For anybody that is like always hearing about this stuff and like never actually like had the entrance or like trying that and so on, give it a look at basically like when we enter, how many tokens that were there, how many has been lost now because of like the rebase and so on. Because when you're doing those type of trades or position, it's not only about the price, it's also like on the amount of supply that you end up with and the percentage of like the total supply that you end up with.
Yep.
Yeah,
So you have like two variables where you can actually lose or win. And that also means that like if you're entering like, let's take Ampliforth, and it's like a $1, the rebase on plus and minus. You enter like minus 50 cents, for example, and it stays there for a month, and then it goes like at $2 maybe. You might still lose on the overall position on that. So just learn on that. The entry positions are obviously like a very good start for that. I think it's super fascinating. So yeah.
Yeah, me too. That came across my radar. There is somebody on their advisory board this will sound incredibly geeky, but he's my favorite economist and favorite historian. He's a professor. He was the head of history at Oxford University. Now he's at Stanford, and there's a think tank called the Hoover Institute out of Stanford University, and a lot of those guys are involved in advising this project. I know that for a fact. I've done my homework. I've clarified that is actually a truth. So I'm quite fascinated what that project's doing. So yeah, I mean, you'll definitely learn a bit about Ampleforth over the coming weeks if you follow this content. We'll dig into it a bit more for you. Hopefully another good trade there. So let's see. Now, to round things out before we get into reviewing our next two projects, people, any news on our existing projects, and are we going to move out of some of these, or are we hanging in there?
There is
DMG,
so
let's
much.
start there. They've obviously had some news. Staking is now available there. They're also doing a burn.
Yeah, on DMG we got like 2 news. I'm just gonna go on the data. Then everybody can have their own opinion. So the token burn, yes, it's true. They had a vote on the DAO, and they decided they're going to burn some of the tokens. And the amount of tokens that is going to be burned is 72,000 tokens, and that's it. For the staking thing, yes, they launched that, and that is available with their repped DAI token. So you can do that with the MDAI that I've created. So that's the second piece of information for everybody to define and decide if it's good or bad news.
Thank you, Stefano. All done with a rather cynical tone to your voice.
I mean, I could be honest, but I'd rather not.
Okay, yeah, it hasn't performed well at all. Yeah, well, I somewhat feel like trading out of it at this point is rather pointless with the gas fees and where the price is at. So we'll hang in there. Come on, DMG. Come on.
One of the things we were talking about, remember, was normally like staking and farming.
Yeah.
Right. News moving the market, and it didn't.
No, it didn't. No, look, okay. We'll keep following it. That's
So
kind of
one thing on that, just like as a reminder, November is when like the issuing of the locked token is gonna happen.
BC dump.
I'm feeling like you guys are a little pissed about how DMG's performed. Yes, hasn't been great so far.
Yeah, no. They look really happy. They actually look really happy.
Here's the thing.
that's
There
part
is
of it.
like, when you
Blame me.
enter a trade, you need to be capable of taking the gains and to take the loss.
Yes.
So here, obviously, we're down. Like there is no.
We're down heavily.
I want
There
you
is
guys
no
both
way
to
of
dump
turning
so it'll
that around.
pump when I still hold it.
Yeah.
Are they delivering news? Yes, they are. Because it's true. They've delivered 2 news. Are those news that have moved the market? No, they didn't.
Okay. Any news from Pamp or Bonk that we should be aware of before we move on to our next 2 projects?
So Bonk has released the...
Lisa's trying not to laugh at these names. She's like, what am I doing on this show?
I'm just like, well, bonk. It's like, okay.
Interesting. Actually interesting.
Bonk is not...
Any green dildos on bonk?
Well, yesterday they did one, so...
Lisa, buy a bag. It's only like half a mil cap.
Oh, is
Yeah,
it?
but buy the entire market cap. Go for it. Buy the
Then
entire
you can
project.
stake them with
And I
Pam.
can stake it with.
Okay. Come on, stay focused.
No, hang on. So I can bonk it,
Yeah.
and then I can pamp it.
Yes.
Correct. That's exactly what you do.
If you pull your stakes, you get bonked. 9%.
So the big things on the projects is that like both of them actually has got together and they launched like this liquidity pool where instead of having like the classic uniswap with the token plus Ethereum, in this specific case is a pool that is done on 50% on PAMP and 50% on Bonk, which is the one where I entered at.
I don't even want to. It's like so.
Just rewind the video a little bit and you will see how it's going on that. Other stuff that the Bonk is doing is that they're still testing out the NFT marketplace. So soon it's going to be launched in beta. And that's pretty much it for the Bonk side.
Okay, just a final quick look at those prices for the projects we're following and how
Hey,
What about
Pump.
Pam? Yeah, Sean.
There it is, guys. It's not
Sean.
Really ignoring the news of Pump. He doesn't care.
No, I'm just showing where the projects have moved since we reviewed them.
Can I
Go
do
for
one here
it.
with the news?
You're well more
Take it away,
informed
Jordan.
than you
Take it
are.
away.
Okay, yeah, so PAMP and Bonk did the liquidity pool on the pair, and they also have a PAMP link pair, which is doing much better because there was way less people in it, and I was getting nice rewards on that. the opposite of the pump. I did both at the same time, and the Link is way outperforming it.
Go on.
But other news from PAMP, which is quite cool, is they've got this. They've released testing of their mobile wallet, which is amazing, because it's like this. It really breaks down the barrier for people to get into DeFi.
You can just pamp anywhere, anytime.
Well, you can send it to your mom or your dad or your friend, right? And it just streamlines the process, makes it a lot simpler, right? And then staking, right, on the.
I don't know if you want to like bonk your mum or your dad or you.
Mom, I said you're too pumped.
No.
Yeah, and then the other kind of interesting news from PAMP is that they're moving to DOT. They're going to move to Polkadot.
This is crypto, people. This is what crypto's all about.
So wait, they're moving the entire system to Polkadot, or just like they're going to have like an hybrid
They're going to
model?
pamp it to DOT.
Exactly.
Yes.
They decided that ETH wasn't cutting it. And it's true, though. I mean, it's ridiculous.
DOT is such an amazing project. So it's like I'm in Kusama, which is the chain. I'm in DOT, and they're just totally amazing projects.
Yeah. Still early days. It might be market hype still, but
yeah.
What do you think? What do you think upward target of DOT is?
At the moment, I've got a target of 15 on that. So
Nice.
yeah.
I got in at 3, still holding.
Ooh.
I think I was like telling everyone about $1.80 or something. No, it was 180 before the split, and then so I was telling everyone before the split, and then they split the chain 100, and then it went down, and dropped into about 5 or 6 exchanges, and it pumped up to $6 or whatever, and it's sort of hanging around $4.50 I think at the moment.
Man, I stared at Kusama for like 3 weeks at $5. Oh, I got to get into this soon. Oh, in a couple days I'll get into it. A couple days.
Yeah. I had Kusama charts on Twitter. You should have been trading those.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you see, Jordan is all for Link and for the tech, so it was like, didn't have time.
Someone's in it for the tech, man.
Yeah.
Kusama and DOT, with Gavin Wood behind that project, amazing
Link.
project. It's going to kill Link.
Oh, well, they're gonna
Oracles are going to be dead.
Whoa.
Lisa, thank you for your guest appearance on the world's best Degenerate trading show.
It was
Thank
good
you so
bonking and pamping with you.
Yeah.
Thanks for making the Degen trading extra dirty.
That's
Dirty
my
Degen
job.
trading.
And we
gotta put that on the leaderboard.
Yeah, dirty
subscribe.
Degens.
Hit those likes, people. Subscribe.
No,
Like.
smash the
Smash
likes.
like.
You gotta smash them, Sean. Smash.
Get it wrong every
Bonk 'em. Bonk 'em.
time.
Yeah, bonk the likes.
Most importantly, people, subscribe, hit the alarm button. Lisa is going to show us how shorts and longs work. We'll have a close
I
look.
thought you were gonna say I'm gonna show you how to bonk, and I'm like, really? How did that happen?
Yeah, that's a different channel.
That's OnlyFans. I'm yet to start that page.
We saw the lingerie, Lisa. We saw the lingerie.
We will be having a close look at how to use that platform.
I'm sure if you Google it hard enough, there's probably a photo or two that it got released in January this year that is still floating around somewhere.
Yeah, I think we've seen those.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody saved it somewhere. It's pops up every now and again just to annoy me, and I'm like, God damn, I look hot
really
in that
careful. I don't know
photo.
if you've seen the show before, but we do fill it pop-ups.
I pop that photo off, I'll kill you.
Thank you very much for joining us. We're looking forward to having a look at how longs and shorts work in general, and going over the Primexbt with you.
Okay.
And well,
I promise I'll behave.
You just went back to the gutter there with the longs and shorts, eh?
Yeah.
Don't need to behave. Don't worry about that. All right, people, into part 2 of this show, which is our review section. And Lisa, we'll see you soon. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers. Second part of the show, viewers, we're going to be reviewing a couple of projects this week. We've got Pirate Chain, a privacy coin, and Fearum network. So first up, let's have a look at the short video for Pirate Chain. There's a link below to the long form video for any projects we review that have already happened, and also for this project. So yeah, let's have a quick look at the short video now.
Yar!
Draith, one of the captains at Pirate Chain. Welcome along, Draith.
Nice to be here, man. So I started mining it because it was profitable. Then I realized, what kind of project it was as far as privacy was concerned, because it basically is what Zcash should have been and combines both the best of Zcash and Monero in the sense of it's private by default, so shielded transactions only for peer-to-peer, and it uses ZK Snarks technology, or the ZK Snarks protocol, which is widely considered the strongest privacy protocol out there. The community project, there's no ICO, no IEO, there was no dev fees and nothing like that, and a fair launch. A ton of the community is involved, but I would say as far as like captains, first mates, and deckhands, probably at least like 50, 60 people. The Genesis block was August 29th of 2018, and it was essentially a creation of some of the developers from Komodo who got together and was like, let's see if we can make a chain work that uses ZK Snarks and shielded transactions only. We were the first shielded transaction only ZK Snarks chain out there. Zcash to the punch with releasing a shielded transaction only mobile wallet, including creating our own operating system, different developments. Right now, we're working on integrating I2P. We're creating a iOS version of the mobile wallet right now. So Pirate Chain fixes that by, after the block reward is released, from that point on, it can only be sent to shielded addresses. We also use delayed proof of work, which means that our transactions get notarized onto Komodo's blockchain, whose transactions get notarized onto Bitcoin's blockchain. So in order to successfully 51% attack our chain, you'd have to 51% attack us, Komodo, and Bitcoin simultaneously to do anything.
So what do you think, Stefano?
So I think that in general, like privacy coins are super important, and in the previous bull run, we have seen crazy increase in valuation from the most famous ones, so Monero, Dash, Zcash, and so on. I think that is super cool, the approach they're doing, obviously on the fact that they're using a more sophisticated security of the code to ensure that things remain very private, which is kind of the nature of that. On the side note, I kind of think that there is one huge limitation on all privacy coins at the moment, which is obviously the fact that it's just a currency. You can't do really much on that. And I think that with their specific OS and kind of trying to build around all of that set of products and solutions to ensure that you can do a lot of things by remaining anonymous, they're probably into something that potentially could be very, very important. We're starting seeing laws and changing in government approach, not only on the pro side of the blockchain industry, but also against that. And so for some countries, it might be super essential to just migrate and have the entire ecosystem on privacy coin and replicating all the things that are happening on other blockchains, such as Ethereum with the smart contracts and kind of all the other stuff. So I think that they are into something that potentially could be tremendously huge. It's a good project, and on the layer of the security is definitely on point at the moment. So thumbs up, I think is good.
Okay, very good. Jordan.
Yarr, shiver me timbers, matey. I love the Pirate Coin. I mean, I've been into Pirate Coin since near the end of 2018. I got into it. Just they launched it. I was following along, and right from the beginning, I was really into privacy. So kind of, you had Monero up there, and then you had Zcash, and then a whole bunch of other really small coins. And R kind of set itself ahead by the ZK Snarks and the node by the default privacy. And really, the community is super strong. You can jump into any of the communities say hello, and they're all like super nice. And if you want to contribute and help out, they're like, oh yeah, you gotta talk to this guy, and this guy will hook you up. And then, you know, they've got so many resources if you're coding or marketing or anything like that. So it's quite strong that way. Technically, I didn't realize it was so profitable mining. Actually, it makes me almost want to start mining. One of our friends, Sean, that you know, he's like looking into mining, and I said, oh, you got to mine some pirate, because he's like looking at using some old GPUs, right? So, you know him, right? Fellow Kiwi.
Oh yes. Yep.
Ha.
Privacy project we're talking about, so we won't mention his name.
Exactly, it's private. Yeah. You can keep your sheep fucker under wraps.
Yeah, obviously I'm coming from a Bitcoin background, so it's fantastic to have Pirate Chain as part of the series we're making, and you know, certainly a project I'd like to revisit on the regular and talk to some more people in that project. Actually, really sort of dig into you know, the use cases, how it's evolving. So you know, obviously if we're looking at this as a financial investment, that's quite a different proposition to the bigger picture here of what is happening in blockchain from a privacy point of view. So I guess maybe from looking first at would this be a good investment? You know, obviously Monero, when I came into the space, that was firmly in the top 10. It was actually a project I held. I considered it a great investment. You know, I thought, you know, surely everyone's going to be interested in having these privacy coins, and therefore the price of this thing will go up. Monero slipped back to, I think it's 19th at the moment. Zcash is also sort of fallen down the ranks. I think that's sitting at number 32. I think Pirate Coin, what are they? It's probably like 350-ish, I think. That's my notes, 359.
Bear market wrecks all. It doesn't matter your use case. Doesn't matter your progress. Doesn't matter your community. When the market's red, everything's red. And that's what happened.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I'm you know, bigger picture here. You know, will these coins be adopted, and therefore will the value of Pirate Chain go up? Long term, I think absolutely. So, you know, for me, it's fantastic to have this project as part of the show. What's really more important to me at this point is for people to maybe understand a bit more about what's happening in blockchain, especially around privacy. Coming from that Bitcoin background that I have, this has been for me probably the major issue. I think a lot of people have now come to the realization a blockchain effectively is the most unprivate thing there possibly is. You really can be tracked. There's so many different touch points of using wallets where, you know, somebody spending about $5,000 can really sort of chew into what you've done with a wallet. If they've got a bit more money to spend, they really want to know what you've been up to, then that's also extremely doable. So in a nutshell, Bitcoin certainly is not private. We've got that big conversation around coin join and mixing at the moment. So for me, having a project like Pirate Chain as part of our content is really important to help educate our audience around these issues of privacy when using blockchains. I think blockchains are going to proliferate massively, and will that remove our ability to live private lives? Quite possibly. So, you know, I applaud people that are working in that privacy space. From maybe from a branding point of view, sort of calling themselves Pirate Chain possibly gives that impression that, you know, it's there for nefarious activities, which I think if you are thinking like that, you're kind of missing the point of what is happening in the privacy space in blockchain. I think there's some really good people doing some great things that are really important to society from a big picture point of view. So is Pirate Chain going to be a massively appreciating asset in my portfolio? That's questionable. I think long term, that could well be. At the moment, there's a white paper being put together for the exchanges that is looking at how financial institutions can actually list these privacy coins and be AML compliant. That's actually happening right now. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. It'll also be interesting to re-talk to some of the guys involved in Pirate Chain and see whether they actually really give a shit about that. If, is the coin being listed on a regulated exchange a priority for them, or is that just not part of their agenda? So I maybe wish we'd asked that question in the interview, but we will revisit that. So look, in a nutshell, I'm really pleased that we've got this project as part of the show. Yeah, and I'll be holding it and really looking into it further. So that's my thoughts on Pirate Chain. Anything to add, guys, before we move on to Fearum?
Yeah, a comment about, like you mentioned, blockchain is like the least transparent or the most transparent thing out there, right?
Yep.
Somewhere along the line, the narrative shifted, right? Because Bitcoin was started with digital cryptography, right? And the point of cryptography is to be secret and private, right? Cryptography started with sending messages to one each other so you couldn't be hacked, right? So the original idea of cryptography is to be private, right? But then somewhere along the line, the narrative changed to blockchain, and then you introduced utility tokens, and then the open blockchains, right?
Yeah.
So like there's that saying that we mentioned before was, it was Monero is the coin that people thought Bitcoin was, private, secure.
Yeah, and I guess the Pirate Chain guys are really sort of positioning themselves as that a step even further than what Monero is bringing to the market. And another reason that I'm quite interested to really follow this project. That's
like the next evolution of adoption, I think, though, right? Like right now we're moving into this, like the first wave was that bubble, where all the money came in, just everybody just speculating, right? Now we're moving into the second wave, where we're getting utility token adoption and use cases, right?
Yeah.
And then I think the third wave of adoption will be privacy. After all those utility tokens and all the money goes in there, and then everybody starts, like you get big hacks, you get government crackdowns on taxation and all that stuff, then you're going to see a migration, or you're going to get the centralized DCEP coin, right? All the, like the American talk is like the digital dollar that bypasses the banks, right?
Yeah.
And it just goes from the Federal Reserve to the people, right? And if people start losing money, getting locked out of that stuff, they're going to be like, oh, what's the solution? And they're going to realize.
Yeah, you're talking about the emergence of a universal basic income and the use of central bank issued digital currencies, which will be on a blockchain, and the privacy ramifications of that. We could be going down a Big Brother route of forced vaccinations, etc. Yeah. And for me, as I say, having people working in the privacy space and blockchain is vitally important. So it's great to have spoken with them, and I'll certainly be following closely what they're doing. And also wonderful if I ever want to buy a tank on the black market.
Yeah, that's what you want to buy in the black market.
Yeah, well, obviously, we'll talk about how these projects are actually getting used in a practical sense. But do I see myself needing a privacy coin to buy something on the black market? No. Do I think people should be working privacy in the blockchain space? 100%. So for me, pleasure to have that project as part of what we're following. So we'll talk about them next week also. But moving on, guys, we spoke with Fearum. Let's have a look at the short clip. As I mentioned, the long-form video links are also below.
We've been at this for over 2 years now, and the problem that we wanted to solve from the outset, and it still has not been solved, is the problem of blockchains not being able to interact with each other. Right? You can't send an Ethereum to the Bitcoin network. You can't interact with various chains absent going through a centralized entity. And that's still the case. So we've been building for the past 2 years a network that can connect blockchains together to enable transactions of any digital asset, regardless of their originating chain, in a decentralized network for near zero network fees and transactions that clear in milliseconds.
Okay, fantastic. So look, in a nutshell, Ian, how would you describe what you guys are doing, and why should somebody be interested in having a close look at you guys?
Sure. For anyone who cares about the fundamental problems impeding mass adoption, so even something as simple as sending crypto to someone's address, right? Or how about the problem of blockchains not being able to cross communicate with each other, or the fact that it's nearly impossible to enter and exit crypto using fiat without going through a centralized exchange. Those are the fundamental problems that we're trying to solve. And I think if we're able to make even a small dent in those problems, we'll have done tremendous good for the entire space, right? And we've already come a long way, I think, in solving a number of these problems. For instance, I talked about the problem of sending crypto to an address, which may seem like sort of an innocuous thing to the well-initiated, but to those who are just starting in crypto, the idea of sending money in an irreversible transaction to a random string of letters and numbers is just absolutely crazy sounding.
Yeah.
So we've solved this problem with something we call link drop technology, which is in our Unifier wallet. And this allows you to send crypto anywhere using a link. The recipient then accepts the link and the sender gets a notification that this person's accepted it. And then only then does the sender actually swipe the transaction to send it on chain.
What did you think of Fearum, Stefano?
So there is a lot to unwrap over there, because like they're doing like 20,000.
Everything. They're doing everything.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's huge. It's massive. I don't know from where to start. So let's go like from the beginning. The wallet and the option of like transferring currencies by using a link, and obviously like having that option of doing that on social media and so on. Absolutely fantastic. That's incredible, and I can personally see a huge benefits on that, on the simple fact that like every time that like I own like $10 to someone, I'm obviously like in a position to be like, do you want like some cryptos? Like trying to get that adoption in place. And the answer is always like, oh, too complicated. I don't know how to do that. Just send me like the dollars and that's it. So just sending a link is obviously like very good if the workflow is super good. Second thing about that is also like the fact of like giving giveaways. And so like for people that are doing like influencers, streamers, YouTubers, like you name it, like that can really bring adoption in a very easy way on that point. Where I'm less positive, to be honest, but simply because like there are already other alternatives is, for example, on the staking part of that. So the part, for example, like where you can get like that 30-50% return and so on. Now, if you're considering that as a traditional bank account, that's incredible. If we're considering that compared to like other projects that we reviewed, like DMG that gives you like the 6.25%, that's so much higher. Like no conversation about that. However, if I understood correctly from the interview that we got, you need to lock those tokens for a period of like at least a year. And if I'm comparing that to like yield farming nowadays, where you can enter and exiting a project and a liquidity pool whenever you want, basically, without having to like ask for permission and things like that. Plus your year return, even if you're doing like with something simple, like a pair on the curve pool with a stable coins pair, you're still making like a 60% per year nowadays. So, if I'm comparing that like with the competition, is it good that they have staking? Yes, it is good. And options are always positive. Is it the way to go, at least for me? No, I will never lock down something for like 12 months. Because like to me, it's like, I love my freedom. I love the fact that like I can pull out in and out from something whenever I want. On the other side, obviously, they have a tons of partnership. So I'm super, super interested on see what they're going to do like on the NFTs part with the partnership with Bonk. And, there was that conversation about like having the NFTs drop on Twitch and all of those things. Potentially, that could be insane. And the only reason why I know that is because I spend time on Twitch, and I can guarantee you that people will go crazy for NFTs that represent like badges and things like that. Mm-hmm. So, you plug that, you have the link to send some cryptos, you start sending like this couple of dollars of tokens here and there. People start being hooked up on the system. And as an entry point to the industry, it's cool. Like, it has that potential. Are they now in a position where they can actually get there? Not yet, unfortunately, because it's a challenging market first, and second, I kind of got the impression that like they are maybe shooting their bullets in a lot of different directions, which it could either be a strategy, or it might also be that they're not 100% sure which one of the strategies is going to be the best one for that. So it's on hold for the moment because there is a huge potential, and there is actually a huge interest as a user for me, more than like an investor or anything like that, but as actually like as a client, her bracket of the product, to test it out, to try that with communities on Twitch and things like that. How is it going to end up like in a year or two from now? Hopefully well, but we will see. We will see on that.
Okay. That was a very thorough rundown of Fearum. Mr. Gonzo.
Yeah, they have those.
What are your thoughts?
They have those bear market scars, right? They went through. They started in 2018, right? So they've been like through the grind of like building and building with no funding, and well, they did an ICO, but as far as like having that high token price to help fund everything and have the capital, so they've been through it, man. And now everything becomes easier when the token price starts moving, right?
Oh, for sure.
So that's a kind of a plus for them. And the other plus is that they have been around that long. Like, you're seeing stuff coming out and they're like, this. And it's like, what, the project is like 3 weeks old? How is that even possible? You know, it's like there's something missing there. So I actually downloaded the Unifier wallet, and you were talking about the staking, Stefano.
Mm-hmm.
They have, right now they only have BART available for all the coins that I've selected. Like, you have to go into the wallet, enable coins that you have, and then it gives you a list of the coins that are available. They have BART, and it's only a 2-month maturity, and you get 30%, 35% for this diamond one. Yeah, if you have anything, their pool is 6 million.
Okay, because 6 million in BART is equal to $220,000.
Yeah.
So if that would have been the minimum, I'm not sure who can afford that.
That's their pool that you buy into.
Okay, so there is no minimum on that.
It doesn't seem like it. I don't have any BART, so I can't tell. But they have 2 of them that are open for 10 more hours. And then they close
and the minimum time for releasing on the capital is 2 months.
You can withdraw early, but there's a 12% penalty.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's not
bad.
If you hold BART, and I put other coins in there like Bonk and PAMP that we hold, but those aren't enabled yet. So it seems like it's more like you can't just stake anytime you want. You have to wait for the pool to open, and then you deposit the pool, and it's a set time. So it's a bit different than like the DeFi yield farming and staking, where it's just come and go as you please, no lockups, right? Or some have lockups. But yeah, I'm super interested about the NFT stuff as well. You know, want to see how that develops. The project, like the wallet seems pretty slick. I like it so far. You know, once when we get our tokens, we can send them back and forth, see how that goes. It's quick, you know.
Yeah. So Fearum, they're doing a bit of everything. So a lot to wrap my head around here, to be honest. This show is fascinating for me doing it with you guys. I mean, obviously you're very immersed in the Ethereum space for a lot longer than me. So really wrapping my head around staking, yield farming, etc. I think we're now at a point with the projects we've already covered where we can actually go through a practical exercise of looking at who's got the better offers with regards to staking, farming, and so forth. So for the viewers, we will, in our next episode, actually, we're going to go through a practical exercise of actually using our existing tokens and projects and really compare them against each other and the other offerings in the market. And for me, Fearum, it's very timely to look at the the rates that you can get on this. Obviously, I really like the look of the Unifier wallet. They've obviously got their alt to fiat project in the wings as well, which when and if that happens, that's a fantastic initiative. We're going to have Ian back on. Unfortunately, the long form interview was quite short, so we'll have him back on probably in about a week's time and dig a bit deeper into this project, and maybe one of their technical guys as well. So look at, the Fearum, as you mentioned, Jordan, it's been around for a couple of years. They've done some hard yards. It's made some big gains in the last 12 months, price-wise. Is it a good investment? Quite possibly. If you look at the chart, it's a good-looking chart over the last 6 months. I believe they've got about
tomorrow. Sorry, obviously it's a joke. It's just a funny joke. Nothing else.
Sad, Stefano.
It's just.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2,616 wallet addresses at present. They've just launched their incubation project yesterday. So a lot happening in this project, putting it mildly. So definitely one I'll be looking at more closely in the next 2 weeks. And obviously for you viewers, tune into the next episode with us where we're actually going to go through a practical exercise of using these existing projects and seeing how we can maximize gains. I'm sort of not the guinea pig, but the guy who will be asking the silly questions of these two to learn a bit more on that front. And I'm sure there's plenty of you watching that are still trying to wrap your head around some of the new language in the space, yield farming, staking, etc. So make sure you tune into that. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we will see you all in a few days. Thank you very much, and thank you guys.
Later, dudes.
Laters.
Bye.
1 BTC and 32 ETH.